Hi, it's Jeremy with this week's market update from Advent Partners. Last week, the Dow Jones and S&P 500 hit an all-time high on Thursday before settling back down on Friday. Year to date, the Dow Jones is up 7.1% and the S&P 500 is up 9.8%. Markets responded positively to comments from Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell hinting at an interest rate cut at September's meeting. The last rate cut was way back in December 2024. The Fed has taken a wait-and-see approach this year, giving the economy time to digest how the policy moves by the Trump administration will impact inflation. But not so fast. In other news, the GDP Q2 numbers were revised upward from the original estimate last month of 3% up to 3.3%. Strong economic numbers are a positive sign, but it does complicate investor hopes of a Federal Reserve rate cut because an economy showing robust growth does not need lower interest rates. Also, the de minimis exemption was by and large closed with a few exemptions last week. This exemption is a long-standing rule allowing small packages, those valued $800 or less, to enter the U.S. duty-free to avoid the expense and inconvenience of tracking these packages. It's estimated that 92% of packages entering the U.S. fall under this exemption. The end of this exemption would lead to higher prices and increased hassle at ports as importers figure out how to handle this administrative burden. This would be added to the existing tariffs that may finally be reflected in prices as core PCE ticked up to 2.6% last week. So, while we started the week with optimism of a rate cut, further data showed a strong economy with growing inflation, potentially reintroducing doubt about a rate cut in September. All eyes will be on the Fed this month to see how they consider this data before their meeting. Lastly, if you don't have whiplash already, a federal appeals court decision declared the majority of President Trump's sweeping tariffs illegal, although any decision was put on hold until October 14th, giving time for the Trump administration to ask the Supreme Court to weigh in. The tariffs and subsequent ruling are based on the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. The Trump administration used this act to justify the tariffs, while the appeals court is stating that the act does not grant this power. This ruling, if it stands, would apply to the baseline tariffs, the higher reciprocal tariffs, the additional tariffs on China, Canada, and Mexico for what the White House considers their failure to stop transporting of fentanyl into the U.S. Well, it might just be a shorter list to explain what it doesn't apply to, which would be the tariffs on cars and metals, which were introduced under a different law. Thank you for listening in, and if you have any questions about how this may impact your financial goals, please reach out to our office. We look forward to connecting with you.